Hi, Cathy Neptune here. Welcome to my kitchen. And I'm going to share with you some recipes, tips, tools, and ideas how to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. And of course, I always love to do seasonal recipes and menus for you. So tonight we're looking forward to Super Bowl. And whatever your team is or isn't, we all have our favorites. So we're going to do Super Bowls. And they're all recipes and munchies and things that you can do served in bowls of all sizes. So I hope you enjoy this and try them. And of course, you don't have to do the whole menu, but it's to give you ideas and hopefully some inspiration to make some of your recipes a little different in serving them up, because I love to be creative in the way that you serve up your munchies and appetizers for your guests. Even if it's just two of you watching your favorite sports team, make it special, make it good, and make it homemade. So we're going to start out with a soup. And I had a ham bone that I had, and I cooked it. It was a spiral ham, and I put it in the crock pot, much like you do a turkey stock or a chicken stock or even a beef stock. I just put the bone in the crock pot with some carrots, onions, and celery and some water, and I cooked the heck out of it overnight for about 8 to 10 hours. And don't throw out your bones. Look at this beautiful, glorious ebony mahogany color soup stock that comes out, and that's going to be our base. It's a ham stock, and that's going to be the base for our broccoli ham chowder. And this is already, as you can see, steaming, and we're going to take some broccoli florets and cut them into bite-sized pieces. You don't want them too big, but these are all going to cook in the stock on the stove. And of course, if you didn't have a ham stock, you can always do a chicken stock and flavor it with the chunks of ham, which I'm going to add at the end, that I saved, little pieces of ham. Or you can do chicken stock and get ham from the deli even and cut it into chunks. Don't have them slice it and just do it into chunks. So I'm going to put that into the stock and boil that on the stove just till you cook the broccoli, which is probably like, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how you like it done. So I have that cooking in the back. And then we're also going to do, what would a Super Bowl be without a chili of sorts? And I'm going to put these in the oven to heat them, but these are potatoes. And wait until you see the way we serve this. But if you see, they're kind of charred and they're seasoned. So before I cut them in half, I took these are Idaho potatoes, which are the best baking potato you can get. And we made a little boat or a vehicle for our chili. And I took the whole potatoes and washed them very well, scrubbed them down, and then dry them really well. That's the key whenever you're baking anything, so it doesn't steam. You want it dry. And I put the whole potatoes in a bag with some olive oil, and then I seasoned them with some chili mix, any kind of your favorite chili packet seasoning, just about a tablespoon or so, and I rubbed it all around the potatoes, left them whole, and I baked them in a 400-degree oven for an hour. And they got crispy, and the flavor that you have, because now you can eat the potato skins because you've washed them and you've seasoned them very well. And then I sprinkle the inside of the potatoes with a little bit of salt, because potatoes just have to have a little seasoning inside as well. And this is just softened cream cheese, or I took a block of cream cheese, and it's about an ounce of cream cheese at the bottom of each potato. And I love using the yogurt cream cheese. So I'm going to put these in the oven for now, just to get them started cooking. And then we're going to work on the chili base that goes with it. So those go in probably for about, I'd say 10 minutes is a good start for those. And then a lot of this, you'll notice I've pre-done, and that's really the key to any kind of entertaining. Do as much pre-prep as you can, and that frees you up to being a guest at your own party. You don't want to be cooking while everybody's here. So pre-cook everything ahead of time, and then all my ingredients are ready to go, and it's just a matter of assembling. Now in here, I've browned some ground beef with a little bit of onion. And I'm going to take my chili mixtures over here. which we have, and you just follow the instructions on the packet of your chili seasoning mix. So I'm going to add that in there, some chili. I think that's about good. And it calls for some stewed tomatoes or tomato sauce. And what I use, I love to add flavor whenever I can. I'm using Rotel tomatoes, which have a little bit of chili, and whenever you can add flavor, why not? So we're going to put those in. And I also added a little bit of jarred salsa because I love salsa in my chili. Again, adding flavor. And I'm just going to put that, that smells so good. And I'm just heating it up on top of the stove as you would any other chili. And I have a can of beans here. These are a tangy sauce style bean. And if you want a chili bean in there, you certainly could make it like a add this if you want, but I think the meat with the potatoes, I didn't want to dilute the meat with the potatoes, so this is entirely up to you, but I think I'm just going to omit the beans at this point. And of course we have our cheese to put on top when we serve them, and wait until you see how this all comes out. So I'm going to put this on the stove and just heat it slowly. You don't want to scorch it, but you don't have to watch it. If you put it on fairly low and keep an eye on it, you just want to meld those flavors together. And then when the soup is done, we're going to finish that off with some of, this is some of the potatoes that I used when I cored out the potatoes. I used, this is the best little tool to have. You know what this is? This is a grapefruit knife. And it allows you to cut around the rim of the potato, and then I scooped out the center of the potato using a grapefruit knife. So that's a great tool to have. And as long as you leave a good amount of potato inside of your shell, in other words, don't go right to the bottom of the skin on the sides, or especially the bottom, because that's what's going to hold the chili. We're going to fill those potatoes with our chili mix that's heating up. And the potatoes that we scooped out are going, not all of these, but a lot of them are going into our broccoli ham chowder. And I have a little bit of ham slices that I've chunked up. We're going to put those in because all of these items are cooked ahead of time. And then to thicken the chowder, we're going to make a roux. And this is just a little bit of melted butter, equal amounts, probably 2 teaspoons of the melted butter that I just put in the microwave. And I'm going to take an equal amount of flour and just blend that with it. And when you do this, you're coating the flour along with the butter, and it kind of protects it from getting lumpy. And then we're going to add a little bit of the stock that's heating up on the stove. And of course I measure very carefully, as I always do. And then I'm going to take this and add a little bit of the stock. Oh, these are almost done. See, it doesn't take very long when you have everything assembled. I'm going to take a little bit of our ham stock. This smells so good. And it's important to have your stock warm, so that I'm trying not to get any of the broccoli in there. And I'm going to swap this over. And you can see immediately this is thickening up. And you can use a whisk. I'm going to add a little more stock to that just to get it going really well. And you can see this is a great technique to use too whenever you make gravies, because look at how beautiful and silky this comes out. And there's no lumps because you've coated all your flour granules with some of the butter, and it kind of protects it from seizing up and getting a little princess attitude, if you will. So I'm going to finish cooking. The broccoli is almost steamed. Oh, this smells so good. And this sauce is going to be so buttery on a cold night. And wait until you see the way we serve this. And you can do any kind of bowl if you want to just do a bowl, but why not make it fun? And wait until you see what we use instead of bowls. So I'm going to set that aside, put this back on the stove just to finish up for about 3 more minutes. Check on our chili. That's going really well. Oh. And let me check on our potatoes here. I'm going to get pot holders because it's going to be very warm. And I have my oven preheated at 350. So we're going to do these. Oh, these look great. Great. So our chili's almost heated through and our broccoli is almost tender. That's how you know when it's time to assemble and put all your other ingredients inside. And when we come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to get these in the oven and finish them off. We'll be right back. Look at our potatoes. I just took them out of the oven and they're warmed through with the softened cream cheese. You can see how warm and it's so much easier just to work when the cream cheese is kind of melty on the bottom. And this is going to make your chili kind of, especially if you're doing a spicy chili, this is almost like a sour cream effect in this, and it makes it nice. And again, this this is a visual for you. This is that grapefruit knife that I used to cut around the outside of the potato, and you can see on the bottom I've left a good healthy layer of potato at the bottom, and then I just made lines and scooped it all out, put the potato in the bowl, and we're going to use that for our soup. So these spoons are really great tools to have. I love that. I use it for a lot of things. Here's our wonderful chili mix, and we're going to make these little chili boats, and we're going to top these off with some cheese. And remember, your boats baked in the oven, they were seasoned on the outside with some chili seasoning. You can even do a taco seasoning if you'd like. And I rubbed the outside of the clean potato that was dry, and I added olive oil and the chili powder to that and roasted them for 60 minutes at 400 degrees. And what a nice vessel to have for your favorite chili. And of course, you can always do ground turkey with this too, but I thought we'd make it a meat and potato thing, you know. Why not? It's a special occasion. You want to be rooting for your team. You're going to need all the protein you can get to get through that game. Let me fill that up. And when I preheated the potatoes, keep in mind too, that quickens the process of their cooking, because really, the potatoes are cooked, the chili is cooked, and we're going to top this with cheese. So all you're really doing is melting the cheese on the top of these potatoes. And wait until you see how we finish these off. These are so fun. You're going to be the talk of the tree after you serve these, because they're really fun to do. And certainly within keeping of our football theme. And remember, you can add your beans if you'd like, but I think we have plenty here. I wouldn't fill these boats until the last minute, but you could certainly prep it the way I did and have plenty to go. So that's all done. And I have already shredded, make it easy for yourself, with some prepackaged Monterey Jack blend cheese. And you can put as much or as little as you want on the top. And we're going to bake these. I still have in my oven on, and it'll probably just take I check them after 10 to 12 minutes to see how they're doing. And you want the cheese to be melted and brown. And it doesn't hurt to have the potatoes really crispy. And this was 2 cups of packaged shredded Monterey Jack blend, which is really a cheddar and Monterey Jack. But you could certainly spice it up and do some of the cheese that has the Mexican flavorings to it as well, the spiced Monterey Jack. So I'm going to take this and pop it in the oven. And we're going to finish our soup and get that back on the stove. And this is our broccoli, excuse me, that's nice and crisp tender. And remember this little gravy that we made. It looks like gravy, but it's actually a thickening agent. I'm going to add that to the stock. And I'm not going to put the whole amount in there. It's just enough to get a nice consistency, because then we're going to add some cream that I've mixed in here to give it a nice consistency, and that's a heavy cream. And that's going to also dilute the flavor of the ham stock, so it won't be as salty as it could be. So we'll cook that down. I'm going to add a little bit more of this to thicken it. And you can kind of play with it and get the consistency that you like. But when we put this on the stove, it's going to thicken some more. And at this point, I'd like to add some of our fillers, which is going to be some, let's do all of this ham, which is probably half a cup, more or less, to taste. And I'll put that in. And then our wonderful potatoes. And you don't have to be fancy and cut them into cubes and cook them separately. I'm just going to put these, much to taste as you'd like. And put that in and check and see how much you'd like. This or that many, probably 2/3 of a cup. And that will also help thicken and flavor your soup, which is now going to be a chowder when we thicken it up. So I'm going to pop that back on the stove. And from this point, you can kind of play it by ear. You see it's not really that thick, but I expect it's going to thicken up. I'm putting it back on just for a minute or so to get it to the consistency that you would like. So keeping your eye on that. And then I want to grab and show you how we're going to serve this, because this is so fun. Remember, we're doing super bowls. And this is what I did. I bought a regular bread bowl or a bowl. You can get sourdough, you can get pumpernickel. I chose to keep it a little plain. And another knife that I use, this is a serrated, kind of another grapefruit knife. A lot of plugs for the old grapefruit today, but I'll tell you, these tools are awesome. You can use a small paring knife if you want. And I'm taking the cover off. And instead of scooping this out, which you normally would do, here's another tool. It's a tart shaper, but I'll tell you what, why waste all that bread when you can do this and tamp it down in the middle? You can see, much like this, I'm making a rim on the outside to help support the thick soup that we're going to put in these bowls or bowls. B-O-U-L-E, I believe it is. And you can even toast these in the oven if you'd like. So we have that is done. And you can make as many or as little of these as you want. You could do small dinner rolls as long as you can see these are a little crusty and a little denser than like a potato roll would probably just disintegrate. So you want to pay attention to have some kind of heavier texture to your bread that is now going to be your bowl. So this here is looking nice. Let me check our potatoes. Those are going to be good. And I'm going to stir the soup up just to see where we're at. That looks really nice. And again, we're heating this through. You could even do this soup ahead of time and just reheat it before you put it in the bowls and bake it. That would be a great start for you. And do all your bread bowls ahead of time too. There's no reason if you put them in a bag, a Ziploc bag, do them the day before if you'd like. And we have that going. And when we come back, our soup should be ready and we'll start on our other two recipes, our super bowls. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I just took our taco potatoes out of the oven and we're going to finish those in a minute. And here's our thickened broccoli ham chowder in our bread bowls, and we're going to fill these, serve those. See, you don't need a lot, but this is a great
great addition to your buffet. And I have a blend of some of our Monterey Jack cheese and just whatever cheddar you have, whatever you like. There's nothing like ham and cheese for a good combination. And don't worry if some of it spills. And again, because our soup is hot, we're just going to be melting the cheese on top, because on game day you can't have enough cheese. So we're going to put that in. All that goodness and the thick soup, I'm going to put that in the oven just until the cheese melts. And let me get my hot pads here and put those in. And that doesn't take very long either. And don't be afraid to have your guests come into the kitchen, and certainly they can help if you need it in the kitchen. So now we're going to go on to our next recipe, and that's going to be our spanakopita bowls. And they're mini bowls, and again, very easy to do. I have in here, in this bowl, some creamed spinach that's frozen. So you can make your own if you'd like, but why not buy a package of already seasoned and prepared creamed spinach. Into this, we're going to add some dill mix, about a teaspoon, some feta cheese, and I'm going to blend this in with a spoon. I get a smaller spoon? Yeah. And there's nothing like feta cheese. When feta cheese bakes, it's so delicious. Now let's put the whole thing in. And to give it a little more flavor, I'm going to add about a good tablespoon of chopped chives. And oh, this smells, it's like a Greek appetizer. And we have that bowl there, and we're going to bake these. Let me show you what I did. Over here we have wonton cups that I've put in the little mini muffin pans, and I baked them for about 10 minutes just to get them a little crispy. And you want to make sure you leave an opening so you can get the filling inside. And these are just going to warm through in the oven for about another 5 minutes until they're warm. This is a good job for the kids to do if they want to help out in the kitchen, or you have a friend who's bored and wants something to do. Put them to work in the kitchen. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to fill those. And again, because your mixture is already cooked, there's not a lot left to do but just heat everything, especially the little cups that you fill. And these are like finger foods, which is really fun. So those will go in. We're going to fill these real quick. And again, I wouldn't do these till the last minute. These would be great leftovers too. They're awfully good the next morning for breakfast on the side with some eggs and toast. So good. Okay, we have a little bit left. And I want to see if I have anything left on our, maybe I'll do a few little taco ones too, because we have a little bit of leftover filling. Why not? I like to use everything we have, and somebody's going to be lucky enough to get some extra little taco bites in there. And let's put a little cheese on the top of that, of just the taco ones, or little chili ones, little chili cups. It's all about improvising and using what you have on hand. So we're going to pop these into the oven as well for about 5 minutes at the most. So those are going in. So we've got 1, 2, 3 going. And I'm going to show you our next recipe, because it's all about the bowls. And we're doing a creamy beef mix. And again, we started out with hamburger, or you could use turkey. And I browned it off, and this time not only did I do onions, but I did some garlic as well. And to this, here's all of our ingredients. I'll show you how we're going to serve it. This is so fun to do. Now in here, I'm going to add some oregano and some sugar, believe it or not, because we're going to add some tomatoes to this. And tomatoes can be very acidic, so whenever you can add a little extra flavor and so forth, go for it, because that's what gives it some dimension and depth. These, again, some tomato sauce or canned tomatoes. Whatever you have on hand. You can even use fresh tomatoes if you'd like. And remember, you can email me for these recipes with the exact amounts. A little ketchup, I like that. It's a little sweeter than tomato paste, and you don't have to worry about cooking it down for the flavor. So the meat is already cooked, so we're just going to warm this up, and I'll show you why. We're going to put that in the microwave. So how easy is this? And while I do that, I'm going to tell you how I made the serving bowls. So let's do 3 minutes on that, just to warm it through. These are our last minute ingredients. And I made these adorable little serving bowls for our creamy meat dip. And this is how I did it. Again, in the microwave, I took a tortilla, 10-inch flour tortilla, and I put it in the bowl and kind of crinkled it around. And if your tortillas are a little stiff, what you can do is just soften them for about 30 seconds so they're a little more pliable. And I put them in the microwave on high for 30 seconds to a minute. And watch them carefully because they tend to bubble up a little bit. So you want to just partially cook them between 30 seconds to a minute. And if you see any bubbles form while it's still soft, you can press in those bubbles so that you get a nice even shape. And you want to have a bowl when you're done to put our creamed beef dip inside. So those are done, and you could do those ahead of time as well. And when our meat is warmed through, I've cubed about 4 ounces of regular cream cheese, and we're going to add that to the meat mixture and make it really creamy. And we're going to add some Parmesan cheese to that. So that should be about done. Let me check on our bread bowls. The soup is looking really good, the broccoli chowder. And that's something you can serve right away as one of your first courses for your munchies. Do the soup pretty early on so people can enjoy having the bread bowl. If they want to tear off bread as they go along and dip it into the soup, it's just a really neat way to start off your festivities and watch the game. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to serve our creamy beef dip with some nacho chips, just some regular nacho chips. So you could use a ranch chip with them as well. But they're going to be very good, and you can heat this at the last minute and serve it right from these little bowls. So let's check on our beef. Oh yeah, I can hear it sizzling. Oh, look at this. Oh, that smells good. And then when it's steamy like this, you add your softened cream cheese and mix it all in there. And it kind of gets melty inside because your beef is really hot. And if you have to put this back into the microwave, you certainly can. But as you can see, this is really, really hot. So I'm going to keep on blending this. Put it into the bowls. Get some chips out. And at that time, I think most of our other recipes in the oven, our soup bowls will be ready. And on with the game. I hope they win. Whoever you're cheering for, I hope somebody's going to win. So that's good. And we're going to add some Parmesan cheese to that. just because you can't have too much cheese. And we're going to serve it up in these wonderful little tortilla bowls. And I made 2 of them so that, of course, you could use a larger tortilla, but this way you can have it on either end of your serving table, or if you're doing a coffee table, you have enough for everybody to get to, so they're not all crowded in one place. But you can see this looks pretty festive. You can put a little green onion on there or cilantro, whatever you like, but this is a great, satisfying, creamy dip. Everybody loves this, and it's so easy to do. And you can even do this ahead of time, too, and then just reheat it and add the cream cheese as you prepare to put it in the serving bowls. So when we come back, wait until you see how we finish off our little chili boats, our chili bowls, and serve everything up. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Look at our game day super bowls. I'm finishing off our wonderful chili stuffed potatoes with some sour cream. And if you don't have a decorator like this, of course, you can put it in a plastic bag and just snip the end. But do this at the very end. Our potatoes are hot out of the oven. And they're supposed to look like a football. Now, be nice, because that's what they're supposed to look like. And these are going to be yummy. This is a whole meal. We have that. We have our wonderful broccoli and ham chowder in our bread bowls. And look at the bread bowls crisp up beautifully in the oven. And save the tops for dipping inside. Serve it with spoons and so forth. Our wonderful spanakopita, which is creamed spinach with garlic and onions and dill, and a blend of feta cheese in there. We had a few taco cups left over that I made as well to finish off our rest of our little mini bowls. We have our creamed beef in tortilla bowls, and we're serving those with tortilla chips for dipping. You could also do veggies in that. What a great game day festivity for everybody. They're simple, they're easy, they're fun, they're all different, and there's something here for everybody. Thank you all for watching and sending in your comments and suggestions. It's just wonderful to hear from you all. And remember, if you'd like the recipes or the tools, the resources for the tools, be sure to email me and I'll be happy to respond. Thank you again for watching. Try these wonderful recipes. I hope your team wins, and may the fork be with you.